Oh, girl. That, for me, it'll be cooking home every single night.
Mine is going to be asleep. Mine is going to be asleep.
Yeah, I get more than enough of that, to be honest. Welcome to the second episode of the Infinite Finesse Podcast with Tanita
and Cece, and we're your essential dose of mental health, wellness, and overcoming life's obstacles mindfully from a millennial's perspective.
In the last episode, we kind of talked about what the podcast overall will be about, and you guys got to know us a little bit better. We answered some questions. But we wanted to kind of just keep it lighter, just so nothing too heavy.
Yeah, we didn't want to kind of go into the first episode with all these main topic or discussion questions. We just wanted for you guys to get to know us and kind of slowly unveil throughout the season of what the Infinite Finesse Podcast will be on certain discussions and things like that.
Yeah, and what it will be about. Yes, it would be perfect to start off with, kind of how our week has been going.
Yeah.
I guess I'll start off. My week's kind of been, I feel like I've been stressing myself out a little bit because I've been doing a lot of things like last minute and just like there's so many things going on that I'm just like, all right, okay, I can wait a little bit for this one, or I'll wait a little bit to get back to this, and it's just like it's been messing me up. So something I've learned this week for sure is that time management is just so important to just like not get behind on things, and that's definitely something I've learned this week. What's something you've learned this week, Cece?
Well, I want to add to what you just said though, because it's Q4, so keep in mind it's just crunch time for everybody. So
for sure.
At least you're acknowledging just like time management and everything, but yeah, it's just that time, because that's something I've previously learned from last week as well, is just the fact that not only is it Q4 and it's crunch time and it's holiday season for everybody, but I guess to kind of retouch on what I learned that week too, is to just not, regardless of what you have going on with that day and regardless of how daunting it could be, a quote I live by, or a life quote I'm living by now, is just, you run the day, do not let the day run you.
So important.
Yeah, because that's what I learned this week was, for instance, today, and I'll be straight up, it's a Sunday and we're filming, so you can imagine we have Monday through Friday, we have like a heavy week ahead, so it's
and
just,
we're your typical 9-to-5ers.
Yeah, we also do our stuff on the side and things like that, but it's just like, I was just telling her like, oh my God, like I have this, and that I have to do. And I'm like, literally day by day, I'm like, man, this is going on. That's something I've always kept telling myself, is just like, I know to not let the day run by me, but am I going to make myself any better by just keep saying how much I have to do without actually executing it? So that's what I'm learning, is to just make sure to I run the day will not run me regardless of the circumstances.
100%, I definitely agree, because at the end of the day, like, if you just keep thinking about the stuff in the future, like, oh my God, I have so much to do, I have so much to do, you end up just stressing yourself out, and you just sit there, and then you don't do anything at all. So, yeah.
Staying present is just really basically what I think we just always are having to constantly remind ourselves, so.
Agreed.
Yeah, so we did want to bring up this episode, since 2020 is right around the corner. It's Q4, it's December, I guess 8th to be exact, but we already know 2020 is an upcoming election year, but then it's also the fact of, how many people introduce the new year, new me? Do you feel like people actually incorporate that? Is that true? Can you start at any time aside from it being the actual new year itself? Do you have to wait until it's going to be, January 1st is where you actually utilize your resolutions? Do people actually fall off after 3 months in? So that's something we want to kind of highlight, like how we're going to be ramping up. Do we feel like we need to wait until the new year to actually change something? Things like that. So yeah, kind of tell me, like, how do you feel like would not even just 2020 coming up, do you always see yourself always constantly, okay, this new year, new me, am I going to wait till the new year comes up to actually make the change? Am I going to stick to this goal the first 3 months? And kind of just share your experiences of how it worked for you, or do you actually adopt that plan of, you know? Like,
yeah, no, I agree. So for me, last year, I do have to say, I did kind of have like a New Year's resolution to where, and normally I don't really do that because I feel like a lot of people, it might just be like a typical like myth, but I feel like a lot of people feel like it's a new year, so you're ready to start like, you know, you want to have a new routine, you want to be more consistent with things. And that's kind of how it was last year for me with going to the gym. Like I think a week before New Year's, I like got a new gym membership. But I actually started going. I was going consistently for like a good 9 months. And then I had like a personal matter that like just kind of threw everything off, and I just wasn't focused on going to the gym anymore. So that's kind of where that was for me. But I mean, normally I'm not like a New Year's resolution person, but I definitely do like change my habits like on my birthday. I'm that person that's like, okay, it's like a new
age.
Year, like a new age. So I feel like there's always things that I kind of want to change. And then that's like, but my birthday is also November 10th, so that's like the end of the year anyway. But I think honestly, you can change your mind anytime. It doesn't, you can wake up from one day to the next and say, I want to switch this and switch it. So it's not like, I don't think it's, you know, you have to do it on New Year's. It's whenever you feel like it. What about you?
I'm going to add to that really quick, but I want to kind of highlight, she said her birthday, it was on November 10th, and we upload the podcast, I believe, a week or so after, so happy belated birthday to the Scorpio over here, to Tanita.
And also happy birthday to you.
Thanks. We're both November babies, so we didn't want to, so we both kind of came into the podcast at a new age, so we're both celebrated birthdays recently, so happy belated birthday to us. And
November 30th for her, by the way.
Yeah, thank you so much. November 30th. But to kind of reiterate what Tanita was saying as well, I think it's helpful. To be honest, I think as I got older, I want to say by like 23 or 24 was where I kind of accepted that you really can start this whole new mindset or just how you're going to be applying things to any day. I just think universally is just the new year is when everybody's all on the same headspace of let me revamp my process of losing weight, or I want to be more wiser at certain decisions I make financially, things like that. But I think realistically is just, I think any day is a new day. You really could start over because you have 365 days in the year. How many one of those days are you going to actually just utilize it? Even if it's going to be towards the end of Q4, there's still time. But I think it's just the universal mindset of, okay, it's a new year, new situation. I want to start off as a fresh start, but realistically, I think you could start any day as well. And to kind of share like my personal thing is where I think I always tried to adopt the universal mindset of, okay, I'm going into a new year, I want to leave certain people behind in the previous year and then bring new people in, or I want to shed old habits, things like that. But you're already doing that the day, like I think day by day, the more you acknowledge and actually take action to those things. But I will say that I have gotten, I think the way I check myself is just like making sure I'm kind of staying alert of those things like, hey, Cece, you went ahead and said you were going to do this. Did you actually do it? Did you, just always kind of doing that mental check or that mental reminder. But I think it's helpful to have the universal thing of the new year, new me. And then actually kind of just make sure that I think it's just always being self-aware is really that key thing, and just checking yourself and being accountable to it. But I don't think people should realistically wait until the new year to like adopt those changes of, oh, I'm just going to keep honestly reiterating the whole lose weight situation because that's usually what people...
Yeah, that's like the main...
That in finances is just, you really can start any day because the only thing I love that people are staying ahead of like trying to be working out, but then the gym's always packed. the first month or two, so please start anytime.
Very true.
But yes, you really can start any day. So Tanita, with us talking about the ramp up for 2020, let's kind of focus, and we're saying present day, or as of this year, what's one thing that you were proud of that you accomplished in 2019, and maybe one thing that we weren't as proud of for our resolution in 2019 that we did not?
Okay. So one thing that I was pretty proud of is, I feel like I went into 2019, I was like super sensitive. That's kind of how I felt. I was like very like, I was not good at, not necessarily arguing with people, but like confrontation and like all of that stuff, and especially like dealing with stress. I just feel like I was not good at that, and but like that's something that I wasn't good at first, and then throughout the year is definitely something that I kind of got better at, and like I just, now that we're at the end of 2019, I definitely feel more calmed down, way more relaxed, and just like, what happens. Like it's gonna happen regardless. There's not really much you can do about it. So obviously certain situations that are in control, sometimes things aren't in your control, but just kind of got to figure out how to navigate through that. And then something that I'm not as proud of in 2019 is probably that in certain situations, I wish I would have just probably spoke up for myself instead of like trying to not hurt somebody's feelings, or, you know, not trying to come off rude or mean or something. But if I feel like at the end of the day, if it's in your best interest, and it's like, it's not hurting anyone, but it is something that where you're following your gut, you should speak up for yourself. And that's something that I wish I would have did more of this year.
Yeah.
What about you, Cece?
So one thing I'm very much proud that I accomplished this year, and it's something that I've always had in me, but it took a certain situation back in 2017 to just remind myself, was embracing my solitude. I think probably like later in the season or in episodes we'll talk about how, like, I guess your childhood, the way that you're raised and things kind of reflects how your mindset is and how you kind of, I guess, get out of that and navigate your own and adopt your own principles and things like that. But 2019 was just a really big year for me to just embrace that. Just know that at the end of the day, and this is something that a big inspiration of why we even made the podcast, is accepting that, you know, you're going to start on this road on your own and end it, and just always accepting your core value of being alone or handling everything independently. And I think just this year just reminded me of how much I enjoyed that again, because to kind of do a highlight, I had to just say, like, I had to handle a lot of things at an early childhood independently or on my own, and then kind of a couple of years, like, fell off track with that, or just remembering that, like, oh, I really can't, like, you know, you were on this independent path a lot earlier on than you need to, so 2019 was just a quick reminder of embracing it, because, you know, when life throws you in those situations and you're just like, okay, what do I do from here? Do I need to seek out this person for a validation? Not validation, but to just kind of get like their insights or their advice on it. But realistically, it all comes internally. And just the fact that a bunch of these solo, independent cliches, it's just like how much of that really applies. But a lot of cliches that, you know, you're seeing about like this self-development and things like that are actually pretty true, and that's something we'll probably talk about later. But 2019 was just a big reminder of not just accepting it, but embracing it, and like really enjoying the aspect of making sure that, you know, you're nurturing yourself, not just physically or like, you know, like the spa treatments or whatever you're doing, but just mentally, of just life is just beautiful. That's all I can say. Is like, it gets hard, don't get me wrong, but just knowing that you came a long way, and that we all, like, you had your stuff, I had my stuff, this person has their stuff, whatever. We woke up the next day of just like, holy crap, I woke up by myself on my own. I think that's even a big accomplishment, is getting out of bed and facing whatever's next. Just even driving to maybe a interview you don't want to go to, or even just showing up to somewhere that you're like, well, I got through that. So embrace that. Yeah. I don't know. I hope that makes sense.
No, I agree. And definitely also it's like one of the things that that I kind of want to go back to is like if you also the way you're kind of looking at the situation, and not saying that like, oh, if you're like in a terrible situation, all you need to say is like everything's gonna be fine and it's gonna be fine. But like a lot of times the way we look at our situation as well is the way we like carry ourselves throughout that, like, and navigate through it. So if we're sitting there and we're already saying like, oh my god, I don't feel like doing this, I'm gonna have a terrible time, I don't want to be there, blah blah blah, half the time that's how it turns out. You don't want to be there, it's a terrible freaking time, and like you're not enjoying yourself.
And energy, and I think I've also just realized to kind of incorporate what you just said is it takes a lot more energy to just complain, and it drains you more. Like, remember I even had to just be like, man, like I'm just explaining how much time of how daunted I am of just like I have so much to do, but then it does not take as much energy for me to laugh, and I love to laugh. Like I feel so much, it's less energy of me to simply laugh at something and to feel joyful about something, but for me to just want to like confront something because I'm annoyed or just whatever, it's like that's a lot more energy. I mean, still you need to confront things if it affects your well-being, obviously, but like
don't let it take over your life.
Exactly. I remember on the first episode where you were even saying that not everything requires a reaction. That's what I'm trying to go at, is just that it takes a lot more energy to react at every little thing that gets to you or whatever else, and I don't have time for that. Like if it costs me my soul or any sort of that, I don't want it. That's basically that.
I agree with that, yeah. That should be the motto for 2020.
Right? And to kind of just say one thing I'm not so proud of in 2019, I incorporated this at the beginning of the year. And I don't want to, by the way, say that like not setting goals for the beginning of the year. I don't know if I mentioned that. I still do that. Like I will still set my like yearly goals just as long as I follow that. But I did say that Monday through Thursday at least, or Monday through Wednesday, Thursday and Friday I'm kind of flexible on this. I want to just stay off my personal social media, just like scrolling, just because like I read and I'll watch TV or watch shows or whatever, but I just do not want to get on my social media. Unless you're doing like your personal brand for stuff, for sure, do that. But to just kind of like look at stories, I'm trying to be more productive throughout that work week because we're all busy as it is, but throughout the business week for sure is very like time consuming. So I want to, not be on like social media because I'm already losing, time is money, and like I'm already losing that time to just kind of, scroll through. I'm not saying that's wrong to do that. To each his own for sure, but for me personally I would rather just like, I want to just minimize the time. I don't want to say
like if you feel like it's taking away from stuff that's more important, what you could be like doing more important things, then I agree with that. Why not like try to make it into a challenge to where try it out and see how that works for you.
And I was doing fine at probably the first 2 months, but then obviously with time just went on, it got back to old habits, and they said that it takes, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe 21 days to incorporate a new habit, or maybe 3 months, and I was like at the cusp of it, but then I slipped right back to it. But we're not going to be hard on myself. I'm just going to try and make sure I bring that into 2020 to just at least Monday through Wednesday try to stay off my personal social media, but that's not to say that I'm not going to be on like our or for the podcast. Like I'll definitely be on it for there because that's an actual purpose of getting something done. But for me to just like look through, scroll all day and just see like, oh, read this story, view this story, or just, I don't know. I'm just going to try. And no judgment to anybody doing that, but for me personally, I want to try and do that on the weekend. I'll try to. We'll see.
And I think that's a good New Year's resolution. Also, before we wrap this segment up, I also want to mention that I get it, like, it's the new year, we're all going to have, like, New Year's resolutions and all of this stuff, but at the same time, remember to, like, if you can't stick with it, don't beat yourself up over it, because I feel like that's a thing that all of us do a lot. It's like when we can't stick to things, we're like, oh my god, like, you're not even able to do that, blah, 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 you should have did this, you should have did that, and then you feel terrible. It's just like, I get it, like you basically failed at what you told yourself to do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's also like, all right, well, you know, I didn't do it this time.
Yeah.
Do it the next time. It's fine. Like, I just pick up where I left off. It's completely fine. Like, don't beat yourself up over it.
Exactly. And this is not, I need to put a disclaimer. I think this is something where we make sure we do everything else. Everything is just from our personal perspective. We are not licensed professionals. We're just kind of, you know, reflecting what has worked for us, how we kind of cope with things like that. But this is not just like we're just not, like I said, we're not licensed professionals, by the way. So yeah, like I said, I think we're our own worst enemies, to be honest. I know I'm my worst critic because we think people are like holding us to a microscope and just carefully watching, like, is this person fulfilling her goals? No, that's just us. Like, I know
nobody else cares.
Yeah, I'm like, it's definitely just me. And best person I could think of who mentioned to if you mess up, crap. Okay, well, dust yourself off and try again. Aaliyah. Okay, that was the first thing that came off my head. But yeah, that's a great song. So R.I.P. We love you. But yes.
And I know we're talking about our 2020 goals and 2019, you know, goals that we accomplished and stuff like that. But while we're doing all of that, we're also drinking our Tazo Passion Tea, which is an exuberant herbal infusion of hibiscus, orange peel, rose hips, and passion fruit flavors. And it's caffeine free. It's really good. I personally, that's the only one I ever get from that brand because it's my favorite. But I'm also a fruity tea person.
Yeah.
But if you are a fruity tea person, I recommend this one for
sure.
It's
good. It's my first time trying it, and it's Sunday. Like, we'll be drinking different stuff throughout the season, but it's just
like the last time we drank wine.
I'm like, I just don't have the mental capacity for a glass of wine right now. So when we said have some tea in our cute little mugs, Sagittarius, season of Sagittarius. She has her tea mug, but I was like, I love tea, so I'm okay with drinking that. And just, if you guys want to snag that,
if you want to join us, and
okay. So for the last little half of the New Year, New Me 2020 experience, we're going to incorporate, I guess, 2 big goals that we want to accomplish in 2020 and just kind of 3 small goals that we can incorporate into 2020 as well. So Tanita, what are your 2 big goals for 2020 and 3 small goals?
So for my first big goal, I would say that I definitely want to take more time for myself in the next year in 2020, just because, not even necessarily more time for myself, but just like make sure that I'm handling stress a little bit better, because I feel like that's definitely something that was like, I was like burning myself out this year. It's like just one thing after the next and blah blah blah, and I just felt like I was never able to really catch up. So that's something I definitely want to make sure that I'm like, you know, getting out enough and just making sure I have the work and fun has a balance. Like I didn't have a balance of that this year. It's all about work, and I didn't really have that much fun. So I'm gonna switch that up. And then for my second one is I just want to get more into, I mean, I guess you guys know that a little bit about me from the first episode, but I am an artist. Like, I paint, do photography, all kinds of different stuff, and it's definitely something that I just want to perfect my craft a little bit more. I just want to, there's always new things to learn, whether that's in Photoshop, you know, Illustrator, all of that things. There are always things to learn, and that's something that I definitely want to focus on in 2020. For my smaller goals, I mean, typical, but first things first, I want to get a more consistent workout routine.
Hey,
I want to get back to it. Just want to be more consistent. I mean, I pay for a gym membership every month. I might as well go. So that's something I definitely want to do. I want to also be outside and do more traveling. Even if it's just like a little road trip, but just like it's important to get out of LA sometimes. It just, LA can very much feel like its own bubble, and like you're just stuck there, and it's just good to get out sometimes. And then also, it's not really a small goal, but it's still a goal of mine, so I just added it in, is just like continuing with the podcast and just kind of, you know, seeing where it goes. I think this is really fun. It's a fun thing for us to do, and it's going to get us to explore the city a little bit more. And I like interacting with you guys. You guys have been like giving us feedback and stuff like that. It's been very fun, so I'd like to see where that goes.
Definitely. And
what about you?
For me, sometimes I'm like looking back on it, and it's like, okay, do I want to change it or whichever else? But 2 big goals of mine, and these are just for me personally, go back to international traveling to at least one country, because I know we had initially talked about, she, like I said, her and I, like, were big on like, okay, we're going to do this or go travel this or whatever. Just kind of, something kind of happened where I was like, oh, I couldn't have done that. I did travel, it just wasn't to the country I wanted to go to, or just internationally that year. So I think I want to make sure I'm incorporating 2020 to at least go, whether that's just even to Mexico, or which is not far from us, or actually go to where I really wanted to go to, because I really want to go to Indonesia or Thailand. That was like the goal for 2019, but like I said, a certain situation kind of delayed that, which is all fine, but we just even said, and new day, new opportunity, whichever. But that is just a goal of mine, is to at least go to one country, at least in the year 2020, and then I'll travel. I'm definitely traveling to other places, but one country in 2020. And the second big goal of mine, it's like I said, it's financial related, but I've gotten, you know, as you get older, you learn more about like credit scores, things like that. I already hit like my credit score goal that I want. I've been pretty consistent with it, but you know how they always say you want to always continuously build credit, you know, make sure you always keep your balance at 0, ideally, or pay it off as soon as you pay it. But I want to test myself, because I'll be open about like, okay, if I have to use my credit card for stuff I can reimburse back, that's no problem. Like if I'm doing business trips that get expense, I use my credit card, and then, you know, like I get reimbursed for it, I can just zero it back out. I just want to see for 3 months to just keep it on 0, to just kind of like I said, I have a thing where I like to close loose ends. That's my mindset, is just don't have anything open. And when I like see even like $1 charge, I'm like, ooh, want to zero that out, whatever. So I just want to see, this is just my personal goal, is to just like for 3 months straight, just leaving it on 0, like just for the fun of it. But you should always be building your credit and making sure that you're paying off regardless. But
I see what you're saying.
You see, like I said, I'm no financial guru at all, but this is just my personal goal, is just like, even if you get it reimbursed back, I mean, you can still use it. I just want to see maybe for 2-3 months to just not use it, even if I'm going to get reimbursed for a business purpose. Just use my credit card. I don't know. That's just me. But the other 3 small goals I want for 2020, I mentioned this a lot earlier, is just staying off my personal social media. If it's not podcast related or helping out for the podcast, I don't want to be on scrolling or looking at stories at least Monday through Thursday or Monday through Wednesday, because as Tanita mentioned, you know, we also are busy with what we do on a regular day-to-day, and it's a work week for us, so it's like we already have that. Plus, whenever we're home, we want to unwind and do our time. And I think realistically, for me personally, I mean, it's cool to like look at stuff, and I laugh throughout the week, the stuff that I find on social media, because I'm always sending her stuff that I find funny and stuff that she sends me. But it's like, I think I just need to kind of unwind with that personal time Monday through Wednesday at least, to just kind of just chill after I'm coming home from like the office or my workout, whatever. Like I'm already looking at the screen all day, every day. We already look at the screens when we edit, things like that, or we're doing our artwork or whatever. But I just want to try to see if I could like stay consistent with that, and, you know, get on for my personal time Thursday through Saturday or Thursday through Sunday. But I will not, me saying to stay off my social media does not mean the podcast whatsoever. I will still be doing stuff for the podcast. But 2 other quick goals, and I'll make them really quick, is making sure that I'm sleeping at a good time, because throughout the week, I want to at at least try to be in bed by 10:30 or 11. It's really bad. Like, I will be in bed at a certain time, but I can function off of 5 hours of sleep, which is not, 6 hours. 5, I'm already like, what the hell's happening?
Yeah.
But 6 is where I'm like, oh, that's my 7 hour, or that's my standard. Like, I could live off of that, but that's not healthy whatsoever. Because, over time as you get older, like, you need more sleep.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try and stay consistent with I love sleep, which is crazy. Like, I love to sleep. So when I get it, I really am like, yes, I could sleep in or whatever else. But I think I just need to discipline myself, especially Monday through Thursday, because, Friday nights we can do whatever we please. But Monday through Thursday, I want to just make sure I have a good sleep schedule, and I'll try to be in bed by like 10:30 or 11. That's my other one. And my last quick one is Monday through Thursday. I'm always incorporating stuff throughout the work week for people, is to just make sure I don't eat out, because it's like, you even said that's your challenge, is making sure you have food at home or whatever. Like, I already cook as it is, but I'm the type of person where I don't necessarily meal prep, but I buy enough groceries throughout the week to where it's like I'm eating the same meals. But I need to be in that mindset. And it's funny because there's something I saw on Twitter where I was like, I think I showed it to you, like, oh, my new financial budget for the year is if I got food at home.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, yeah, that's my new financial budget. Or basically it's saying that if you got food at home, because a lot of people will use their money to eat out. Yeah. And it's just like, oh my God, I love to eat out and all, but it's like, not only is it like, you're staying on top of your health. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow, for sure.
Oh yeah.
And it's not good. Let's be honest. Like, we can all sit here and say, like, oh yeah, it tastes so much better, blah blah blah. Home cook. There's nothing better than a home cooked meal. I don't care what anyone has to say. A home cooked meal is so much better than anything else.
Yeah.
Like,
and I love
and
cooking
it doesn't get
too.
and it doesn't get you, like, I feel like when you go out and you eat, a lot of times this stuff will have you bloated. It'll have you like just not feeling right.
Exactly, because you don't know the oils and all that stuff going into it, but realistically, you're saving your health and you're saving your money. But I just was like, I always keep saying, let me adopt that mindset Monday through Thursday. And I still do mostly eat at home, but it's just kind of like, you get lazy. And I'm not perfect at this, but it's just, I want to try Monday through Thursday. If I know I have food at home, just stick to that. Who cares if it's like beans and rice? Like, that's still a meal. There are some people who don't even have that luxury of even having food at home. So it's just like, consider that a luxury, a penny saver, and your health. So that is my goals.
And actually, your last goal goes perfect into what we decided to do, because we want to kind of challenge us for the next 5 days. And straight. Next 5 days straight. And want to accomplish something by the next time we film another episode. So what's like one of the things that you're going to challenge yourself to do?
And really quick, because by the next episode, we're pretty sure that we're going to air, I'm sure, aside from this one, we're sure it's going to be 2020, so that's perfect. Yeah. And we'll probably even vlog about it for a week straight. Oh, yeah. Just, like, so you're not
doing everything.
Yeah. So I think for me, like she said, I want to incorporate that sleep schedule of, especially throughout the work week, I really need to try and be in bed by a certain time. If I have to take melatonin or something, to just at least try it, because I know I went to bed, probably it was like 2 or 3 days by 10. I did have to sacrifice I like to work out throughout the week, especially if it's just me. Like, I don't have a set schedule on like having plans with somebody or a meeting or whatever. I mean, I like to work out and I get off at a certain time, but it's like, if I got to sacrifice that to at least kind of challenge and compare like my sleep schedule for a straight week versus when I'm back from the office, I'm then now driving to one side of town to go work out, and then now I'm driving back to make all that stuff, just get in bed at a certain time. That's what I'm going to try and incorporate before the next podcast or next episode to see how it works for me. And what about you?
And for me, it kind of bounces back off of what you said one of your goals was, which is if you have groceries at home, you're not gonna, go to a restaurant or whatever. So for me, it's basically the same thing. I wanna just all week have nothing, not eat out for anything at all. Just have home cooked meals. Take my lunch to work, because normally I always buy my lunch there. and it all just adds up. And I just want to see like what we can. I'll probably feel better. I probably like will at least look more in shape. No, but we definitely like. Plus, I'm gonna incorporate going to the gym more as well.
Yeah,
so I'm sure that'll help.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And you can cook too. Like I've had your food, so you can cook.
Yeah, like I can throw down a little.
She nourishes herself. But that is like, I feel like that's just something easy. We start small, you get results over time, and like I said, we just wanted to try that at least for a week. Our self-care challenge into next episode, which will be in 2020.
And being able to accomplish something just always makes you feel better about yourself anyway. So.
Yeah, exactly. So for this segment, it's going to be our music segment. We are going to be incorporating that for all of our episodes moving forward. We just didn't include it in the first episode. As mentioned, we wanted to keep it short and sweet to an extent. But we're going to include one or two gems from each of us that we're currently listening to or have on repeat, whether it's some old songs or new songs. But Tanita, what are you currently listening to?
So right now I'm kind of obsessed with the song called Eternal Light by the Free Nationals and Chronics. They're actually, the whole album isn't out. This is only a song that's gonna, like, this is just a single, but there's an album. I'm not even sure when it's gonna come out, but it should be pretty soon. Let me play a little snippet of it. It's a really nice vibe.
Good vibration.
Free Nationals, Anderson Paak, Anderson Paak is the and his band too.
Oh, should I?
Yeah, here you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
What about you?
By the way, a quick wardrobe change. It was a little hot, so just had to take off the other jacket. So
I'm always cold,
that.
by the way.
Yeah, so just excuse the quick wardrobe. But I actually have two. They're both been on repeat. They've been out for a while, but the first one I'll start with, and I'll make them really quick. It's Karma by Lucky Daye. I love Genuine's Pony, that song. I think that's where it was sampled off of, but anytime that song plays, yeah, that's a whole different story. No, I'm just kidding. But I love the Pony beat itself. I think it's just the beat itself, but Lucky Daye did such a great job kind of sampling that and just making this song, so I'll play it really quick. Alright, I had to make it really quick. Want to make sure we're not, doing the copyright stuff. Sorry. And then the other quick thing, Mahalia's What You Did. I think that has LMA in it. Or is it LMI or LMA?
I think it's LMA.
Okay. I love that song too. Honestly, both the songs I'm talking about, they sampled some songs I used to love back in the day. I think this one's based off of Cameron's Oh Boy, the song What You Did. And I love Cameron, a lot of his songs, and the Dipset, the Diplomats. I don't know. Okay. I'm going to have to edit that. But whatever. So I love that. I love this song, so I'll make it really quick too. She definitely tributed to Cameron's Oh Boy song, and even have you seen the video? I love the video. I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of Mahalia's videos, but I just like that video. I think I just came across it, and that's how I knew the song. But I need to give a really quick shout out to Lucky Daye's videographer. Have you seen his music videos?
Yeah, so great.
They're one of my favorites, and I love watching music videos. I'm a very visual person, but I've came across many artists who have really good videos, but every video Lucky Daye's put out since Karma, Wholesome, or whatever, whoever is his creative director, huge shout out to you.
Yeah.
Huge shout out. You're such a good cinematic experience just watching that for 3 or 4 minutes. It's so good. That's all I have to say. But that wraps up for my little half of the music segment.
So we're getting into the art section of our podcast, and as you guys know, we're both creatives, so we wanted to give some people a shout out. One of the people that I recently became aware of is So Laci Like on Instagram. And she's an artist. She does multiple things, photography. She does, she's a creative director. She paints as well. Just like she does multiple things, and that's kind of what inspired me about her. Cause if you go on her Instagram, it's like very colorful, but then also it's like it's very interesting because she does a little bit of everything, and she's like the definition of like a Renaissance woman.
Yeah.
And that's something that inspires me because I'm definitely also in the space where I've kind of been questioning, like, you know, sometimes you have multiple interests, but then you're like, should I only be focusing on one thing? Or is it okay to do multiple things at once? And she just kind of shows you that it's possible. So, yeah, I just want definitely... Okay, what?
How they look at millennials. Because we can't stick to one thing. So.
Exactly, yeah. But, I mean, it's possible. Somebody out there is doing it. So... definitely wanted to give So Laci Like a shout out on Instagram. And then she also has a website, which is solacilike.com, where she like posts all her projects and blogs and all of that stuff. Yeah. So what about you?
So I wanted to incorporate this artist. We follow each other on Instagram. It's called Hayveyah Creations and LLC. I think that's, and we're going to be including all these artists in the description box below. But I came across this person's artwork through an artist or a music artist. I follow Mick Jenkins. By the way, check him out. Great artist.
Amazing.
His artwork cover, I was just really drawn to it. It was back in probably 3 or 4 years ago. He came out with Your Love, and I was on Soundcloud, and I was just really drawn to the visual itself. And then I was just looking at that artist's artwork, and since then I've just kind of loved following that person on Instagram. So I did want to give that person a special shout out, and you can just find both of them in the description box below. So for this part, we're going to go ahead and do our tarot reading. I already shuffled this 3 or 4 times already, so I'm not gonna go on I'm not gonna go ahead and refilm me shuffling or anything like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and break the card and have Tanita draw the daily reading for today. And we're gonna do it one card to keep it very simplified. Okay. So you can pick either one.
From anywhere.
Yeah.
Do I show you?
Yeah, you can go ahead and lay it out. And it's the Fool, but the way, so how you laid it out like this.
Yeah.
So for this, it's gonna actually be the general meaning. I think the first episode had the reverse meaning, so this is the very quick meaning. And did you have a general question you asked yourself, like, or you just want to do a general reading?
Just a general reading is cool.
Cool. So we're gonna go ahead and dissect what the Fool means. So as you guys saw, Tanita drew the card, the Fool, but she pulled it into the non-reverse meaning, so it's just laid out like this. And maybe I'll zoom in later. But she did a general reading, so just the card of this episode is the Fool, and basically what the Fool represents is you're leaping into the unknown. It's not a negative meaning whatsoever, but it's also not positive. It's just kind of like a life perspective of going into the unknown itself. You don't know what you're going to get out of that situation, but it's kind of just take a risk. And the Fool also represents like the inner child. So even when you're going into that situation of the unknown, to find the humor out of it, because basically life is too short on any chance that you kind of take. I mean, it's better. I think the positive situation that you can get out of this card is just accepting that, would you rather be on, you know how people live on a fight or flight situation, or being stagnant? Like, do you live life stagnantly, or do you actually kind of just put your foot forward regardless of the consequences within anything? So that is what the Fool represents. So the reverse meaning of this card is kind of going into the situation irresponsibly, or like a lack of attitude. So if she didn't draw the card in the reverse meaning, like laid out like this, but it's just basically one of those things where when you did it on the general reading like this, if you're pulling it out like this, you're most likely, your mindset is not going into that situation expecting the best outcome or being immature about it. And I think realistically, we're acknowledging our self-awareness on that sense. So when she pulled it out, it was not on that whatsoever. But would you kind of feel like maybe when we said it's a general reading for today or a general question, do you kind of feel like before we started recording or filming, like did it apply to anything that you feel like?
No, definitely, because
Okay.
I mean, I'm definitely in I feel like I'm going towards the territory where I'm kind of just like tired of things being the same, and I just kind of want to break out of my shell a little bit and like face my fears and just kind of like see what else is out there and have new experiences. So that's definitely something that applied to me.
Exactly, and they said to truly grow as a person is to always be uncomfortable, and when I just kind of figured that out, I've tried my best to always stick with that. I feel like that's the best situation, just always being uncomfortable.
I agree. All right, so now we're in the restaurant section of our podcast, and we just quickly wanted to talk about two different restaurants two restaurants that we both recommend. I guess I'll just start this one off.
Yeah.
And I've recently discovered this one at Water Village here in LA, and it's called Palette, and it's local organic food, and it's so good. Everything is like, it's not like your typical food that you can find everywhere else. Like you can tell this is like from local farmers markets or something that they're getting their stuff from and cooking it. And but it's like really good. They have really cool sauces like tahini honey and like dill sunflower, all of that, and it's like really, really good. So yeah, you should definitely go check it out. It's a good experience, and it's like it's a really cute like kind of mom and pop shop, which to me are always the best anyway. But yeah, that's my suggestion. What about yourself?
So this is a place called Simply Wholesome. It's literally one of my favorite restaurants in the city. I mean, I have two favorite restaurants. She touched the other one in the first episode, which is Sage and Simply Wholesome. Or I'm covering Simply Wholesome, but Sage and Simply Wholesome are my favorite restaurants in this city, hands down. And I love that place so much just because they make it seem like, I guess, healthy food. It's so cliche that it can't taste or have any taste or flavor taste good whatsoever. It's good. That's all I can really say. But I think the best way I can describe like their foods, it's like Caribbean. They even have some tacos. Basically, a lot of West Coast type of food is incorporated to it. It's in Slauson, and I think the cross streets are Slauson and Overhill. But it's so bomb. Like every time I'm in the South Bay, I always make sure I get my fish patties because they actually incorporate to many different diets, or it's not just incorporated towards like pescatarians or vegans or anything. They have literally everything you can think of. They have Jamaican patties, they have tacos or Nubian tacos, they have sweet potato. It's just so good.
Also, one more thing that I would recommend from that place is their cornbread. It's so good.
I love it.
It's like doesn't it have like cinnamon or something?
It tastes like a cinnamon cake.
So good.
And I really love I think I really like them because I love Sage, but I don't think I follow Sage on Instagram, but Simply Wholesome, because they also have a health food store, which is a very local mom and pop shop that's just inside the store itself. So if you want to kind of grab some like items and things like that, you can always go right next door while you wait on your food, look at the books, things like that. But also, following them on Instagram, I'll try to find the information of the owner, but she actually does Instagram lives where she incorporates a lot of like the wellness segments of, how to heal yourself through the cold. I mean, it doesn't get as cold out here in the West Coast compared to other places, but just if you have like allergy seasons coming up, if you want to know what best supplements to heal yourself internally, things like that, she takes the time to do a lot of those on her lives. So I think that's why I'm also personally drawn to just that channel. I mean, not the channel, that account itself, and just the restaurant, because they give out to the community. I just respect it. Like I said, I love Simply Wholesome. We went over there not too long ago, and I'm like, let's do a post about them. And then I love Sage too. Like literally, those are my two favorite restaurants in the city. So yeah.
check those out. Yeah,
definitely. And we'll be including those in the description box below as well. And I think for the next part, as we kind of just close off on the last few little quick things, we're going to be going ahead and include our finessing tip. I know on the first episode we did the financial tip, but we're incorporating both, either one or the other. And we wanted to include a finessing tip. Basically, we had this because finessing life hacks, it's not every finessing tip that we're going to have on the episodes is going to require you to spend money in some sort. We just felt like that's actually cool to include like life hacks on our podcast itself, whether we've used them personally or things that we want to try. But I'll go ahead and let Tanita lead with the finessing tip that she's had for us this week.
Yeah, so for this week's finessing tip, I actually bought myself this desk lamp off of Amazon, and it's called Taotronics, Taotronics, and it's a LED desk lamp. It has 5 different modes and 7 different brightnesses, and brightnesses, is that a word? But brightness levels, and it's also budget friendly. So it's like, I think it was like $25-$30.
Yeah.
But you can, it's like multi-purpose. Like, we're actually using it to film this video right now. For those of you guys who are watching on YouTube. And but yeah, it's multi-purpose. So we're basically using it as our ring light, but I can also use it when I'm just like working on other stuff at my desk. So it's perfect.
We're all about being multifaceted on this channel, but I think it's great for those that are trying to, you know, first start off on like their channels and things like that. I mean, obviously it's great to have a ring light, but if you kind of want to, if you live in like limited spacing, stuff like that, or just want to,
I just don't want to spend the money.
Yeah.
Because ring lights can get expensive.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So we figured that finessing tip is to just be multifaceted with what you have whatsoever.
And that's what we have for you this week. Alright, so we wanted to talk a little bit about something that we individually learned this week. Or our takeaways. And for me, this week would definitely be time management and not putting things off and waiting until the last minute. That's something that's just... I'm normally not that type of person necessarily anyway. It depends. But, I mean, for the most part, I'm pretty good at, like, getting stuff done right away. But this week, it's just like there was not enough time, and but it's also the planning of it that's very important that I realized. So, yeah, time management for me. What about you, Cece?
So, for me, I think I'm sure it's like another cliche, but just make sure that you set aside time for loved ones, especially if you don't physically live in, if they're not local. Set aside just some time outside of just texting to catch up, and also don't wait until like a holiday, whether that's going to be Thanksgiving, Christmas, a birthday, things like that, to catch up to them, just because you know how when that final destination comes and you look back like, man, I wish I would have spent more time with them. Not even physical time, it's just really setting aside that time on the phone or even a FaceTime than just a simple Father's Day or something. Because like, for instance, if you're calling people on a birthday and there's other people and then they have their birthday plans or whatever, you just want to, you know, just make sure you make use of more of your time, because life gets busy. We're all busy, and that will kind of have you guys shifting in different directions. But it really, you just make time for people, or even if it's just an hour, so just try and set aside that time that's just not through text message. So yeah, and just don't wait until a holiday to do that. So for the next episode, on episode 3, we will be incorporating on creatives versus business peoples, or those that are on, I guess you call them a 9-to-5. And if you have a passion for the arts, can one do both? Can you only do one or the other? How do you set aside that time? Can you do both or mesh both of those worlds together, or do you really have to do them individually?
Alright, so with that being said, thank you so much for listening or even watching the second episode of the Infinite Finesse Podcast with Tanita
and Cece.
And tune in again for the next episode. Just so you guys know, also our socials, whether that's the podcast socials or us individually, will be